So multiple rounds of severe weather will be coming our way in the next several days and through the end of the week, with thankfully maybe a break as we get into the weekend. Today's forecast, I'm going to quickly go over the threats for the next couple of days, severe weather, as well as go over the future radar for today for the north central U.S., central U.S., and south central U.S. So here's today's, excuse me, severe threat. Overall severe threat is highest up here in the northern part of the country today. Wisconsin, excuse me, back towards Brookings, Minnesota, St. Cloud, Escanaba, Mason City, and Milwaukee, and points to the west into South Dakota here. I know I got my little cursor up here. That's all I can do with that. But using a different method to present this today. And you got a marginal risk down here in Texas, although not much of a risk at all. Our highest risk is up here in the Midwest today. Tornado risk is highest up here in that same area in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and parts of northern Iowa, with a hatched risk in the generally eastern Wisconsin, well, eastern to central Wisconsin, and the parts of south eastern Minnesota. 5 to 2% risk of strong tornadoes in the hatched area. And down here we also have a 2% risk of tornadoes. And outside of the hatched area, you have that possibility EF1. The hash indicates EF2 probabilities. Now, as far as wind risk today, you have the most spatial coverage expected for wind risk in the yellow area here, marginal risk in the brown. And then, of course, this is where we have our highest risk today as far as intensity goes and coverage. Well, not really intensity, but coverage, right? So 30% risk up here in in the red area of hail exceeding 2 inches in diameter, 50% surrounding it, and a larger marginal risk, 5% in the outlined area here in brown. And when you get in the brown area, that's 1 inch hail probabilities. Also possible that you'll get 2 inch hail down here in the southern part of this threat area as well. But the coverage isn't expected to be as high down here. Now going into tomorrow, we have that enhanced risk up here again. There's the overall risk, large slight risk going all the way from southern Texas all the way up towards Michigan here, and up to Ohio, marginal risk, New York, and just to the west of the yellow slight risk area here. So quite a large area tomorrow as well. Tornado risk, we have a pretty large tornado risk in general, with a 1 inch tornado risk here. Span that whole area, like pretty much the northern to southern extent of this area, with some short waves and maybe low pressure systems moving through these areas, which will enhance the vorticity and up to potential EF2 tornadoes, with the highest spatial coverage, Des Moines, Iowa, towards Chicago, Milwaukee. Like I said, this is tomorrow. Okay. We also have a severe hail risk again tomorrow. Anywhere in the hatched area, and especially in this red area here, have the most spatial coverage, right? The hatched area doesn't denote spatial coverage, it's intensity. 2 inch hail or greater in diameter is possible here. And the slight risk area is 15%, of course, the 5% hail risk here. Now, the wind risk is still there, but it's not any significant intensity here. So 50 knots, which are around 60-mile-per-hour winds, are possible here. Anywhere, 15% of spatial coverage here in the yellow, and the 5% in the brown. And I know this is a little grainy, but I'm trying something new here. This is the HRRR for the northern part of the forecast area, the area of interest here. And you can see going through this loop, Initialization doesn't really happen until around 1 or 2 p.m. And then you have some supercells, especially up to the north here, rotating updrafts firing here as we get into the evening hours. All right, and some storms down to the south here. Going down to the southern extent of this, really don't see a lot going on here. Maybe some increasing activity as we get further in the evening hours. Low level jet maybe ramping up here. And here's the central US as well. You see the rotating updrafts up here. Not a lot to talk about here. The exception of maybe these storms streaming to the north here as we get to the evening hours. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope you have a great day. I know this is a short video. I appreciate you all watching. Safe out there, and God bless.